Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Mindy. Today I am showing you how I am preparing an easy, affordable meal for a large group of people, so stay tuned. I did a video about a month ago where I showed you guys a dinner party that we hosted on a budget. I will leave that linked in the description box below. And about this time last year, around Thanksgiving, I also did a video over the large family meal that I provided for my husband's family while we were together for Thanksgiving. We are going to see my family, my parents and my siblings for Thanksgiving, and I told my mom that I would be in charge of preparing dinner for whoever is there tonight. For this dinner, I'm gonna need to feed at least 6 to 8 adults and at least 8 children. And these are not small children, these are big kids, like 8 to 12-year-olds. Some of them eat like adults. So I need a meal that is not gonna break the bank. I want it to be affordable, but I also need something that is going to be kid-friendly. And I want something that can also please a lot of different palates. In addition, I don't wanna be spending all afternoon and evening in the kitchen. I want something easy because I wanna hang out with my family as well. So I don't really want to be like cooking all afternoon. And I don't know if you guys are in a similar situation, but if you are gathering with family or hosting company, or maybe going somewhere where you are the company for the holidays, you have that flagship meal, right? You have the Thanksgiving dinner, the Christmas Eve dinner, the Christmas morning brunch, but there's all these other meals that you have to provide for people in the meantime. So that's kind of what I'm trying to address with this video. I shopped at Walmart for this video, but you could probably do this utilizing ingredients from other stores. I would have preferred to shop at Aldi, but I just wasn't able to make it over there in the amount of time that I had. And we are actually not going to be preparing this in my kitchen. We are heading down the turnpike to my parents' house in Oklahoma City. So I will show you how I am preparing the meal there in my parents' kitchen. Let's get started. This is what I ended up with from Walmart. I'm gonna do a veggie platter with some dip instead of a salad because we have so many kids eating, and some kids like salad and some kids don't. My kids actually just prefer the raw veggies with something to dip them in. So I got some baby carrots and broccoli and some celery. And then I also happened upon these sugar snap peas that were marked down because they're the best by date is tomorrow, but we're gonna eat them tonight, so it'll be fine. I also got some fresh garlic for the sauces. I got this rotisserie chicken. I'm gonna take the meat off the bones. When I did the math, it was actually less expensive for me just to buy this than it was for me to make chicken. And I also got a pound of mild Italian sausage. I got a pound of butter, 1 container of sour cream, 1 small container of half and half. This is a pint, 2 cups. This kind of was a splurge, but I think it makes a huge difference to use fresh parm. I'm gonna use this for the white sauce that I'm making, and I'm gonna use the rind of it for the sausage pasta that I'm making, which you'll see. We're gonna put that in the crock pot here in just a minute. I got 2 different kinds of pasta. These are little mini bow ties. And then I also just got regular plain thin spaghetti, 2 cans of tomato products. This is equivalent to 2 small cans of tomato paste. So this is actually a large can. You could use 2 small cans of the 6-ounce size. And then this is a big can of crushed tomatoes. I'm using crushed tomatoes. I think it's a little more kid-friendly than just the regular standard size tomatoes. If you want to use regular tomatoes, you absolutely can. I wanted a little bit of sweetness at the end of the meal, and I was looking around for what in the world I could possibly do. I decided I would do something with this cranberry orange muffin mix that I found. Hey friends, future Mindy interrupting this grocery haul really quickly to let you know that I ended up not having time to make these muffins the night that I made the dinner. So I made them the next morning, and I am sorry to say that they were not good at all. I even tried to rescue them with a little orange juice and powdered sugar glaze, and I made them according to the package directions, and then I put the glaze on them, but they were not good. And I rarely say that about anything, but I'm sorry to say that I just cannot recommend these. The adults did not like them. The kids would not eat them. I would not recommend purchasing this particular box muffin mix. And then I also got some hamburger buns, which if you have watched my channel, you probably know what I'm gonna do with these because these make really good garlic toast and they go a long way for just a few pennies. So I spent right around $30-ish on the things that I showed you, maybe about $31, $32. I'm gonna give you some ideas though along the way about how you could cut costs down a little bit more, and just maybe some of my thought process as to why I splurged on a few items or why I chose to do things a certain way. I figured out very quickly that I was going to need to do voiceovers for this video because it was pretty loud and crazy at my parents' house, which is just the way we like it in my family. So here I am just browning up the sausage, and I'm going to put that into the crock pot along with my can of tomato paste, my can of crushed tomatoes, and then about one full can, one of those 28-ounce cans full of water. That is the equivalent of about 3.5 cups or so. I mean, you could use more or less depending on how thick you want your sauce to be. I also added about 2 teaspoons of Italian seasoning, a little bit of salt and pepper to taste. That's up to you, however much you want to put in there. And then I also added a little bit of crushed red pepper flake as well. And to that pot, I'm also going to add the rind for the Parmesan cheese. I just cut the rind, that's the hard part of the end of the Parmesan cheese wedge off, and I dropped that directly into the crock pot. I just stirred it in there. I popped the lid on, and since I was getting a late start on this, I went ahead and put it on high because I really wanted it to simmer for a couple of hours. I would have preferred for it to simmer on low for about 4 hours, but it came out just fine on high for a couple of hours since I was crunched for time. I also went ahead and boiled my spaghetti to al dente, and I drained it and I just set it aside for later. These are the ingredients, really simple, plus just a splash of milk that I took from Mom's fridge to make a veggie dip. And I only used half of this packet of ranch. I used one little 8-ounce container of sour cream, half of this package of ranch, and then I added just a skosh, like maybe a tablespoon or so of milk to kind of thin it out a little bit. I stirred that together, and then I washed up my veggies, the ones that needed to be washed, and I put them out on a little serving tray. And I got that going pretty quickly because I wanted everybody to have that to snack on so that people wouldn't snack on other things and ruin their appetite for the delicious dinner that I was making. I spent right around $8 or so for the veggie platter. I just thought that would be easier than trying to put together a salad bar and a little bit more kid-friendly. I got that ready at the beginning of the dinner time so that I could put it out on the table and everybody could kind of snack on that, since it's taking me a little longer to get dinner together than I had planned. Or actually, it's not taking me longer. We just got here a little later than I thought. So for all of the people who are starting to get kind of the like snackies, like they want to snack on something, I thought that the veggie platter would be different. But if you wanted to save a little bit more money, you could do green beans. You could buy a few packages of frozen green beans or 4 or 5 cans of, like canned green beans. Get one of those little Italian seasoning packets, and then you can simmer them on the stove or in the crock pot. I've actually done that before in one of my budget meals. That would be a little bit more cost effective as a veggie side than having the veggie platter. I just decided to do that tonight because I thought it would be easier just given the scenario that we're in. This is what it is to cook in somebody else's kitchen. I asked my mom if she had a cheese grater, and she said, yeah, I sure do. And she has this, which has like one tiny little spot for grating cheese. So I'm not even gonna tell you how long it has taken me to shred this Parmesan, but I got it done. Full disclosure, you guys, I looked around online, on Pinterest, even on YouTube for some kind of recipe for a white sauce or an Alfredo sauce that I could do in the crock pot, but a lot of them called for jar Alfredo sauce, and I'm not a big fan of it, and I just couldn't find what I was looking for, so I just elected to go ahead and make it on the stove right before everybody was going to eat. So I started with a 1/4 cup of butter, which is half a stick, and I sauteed some garlic on low heat in that melted butter for about a minute or two, and then I added a 1/4 cup of flour, and I stirred that around to kind of make a roux, and then I slowly whisked in my 2 cups. That is about as much as it is in that container, that pint of half and half, and I just slowly whisked that in over low heat. That's the thing about this kind of sauce. It's really not hard to make, but you have to stay right there with it because it can scald really easily and you may have to adjust your heat. I just kept it on a low to medium low, and I seasoned it with some salt and pepper, and I just kept stirring it until it started to thicken, and then I added my grated Parmesan cheese, and that is almost that entire wedge. It's probably about 3/4 to a full cup of freshly shredded Parmesan cheese. So I stirred that in, and I just stayed right there with it. and I kept stirring it until it started to thicken. It was a little too thick for me, so I added some of the starchy pasta water, probably about a half a cup or so, just to thin it out a little bit so I could make sure that it coated the entire pound of pasta, which is what I was using. So I added my cooked pasta and my chicken, which was all shredded up and ready to go in the pot. I stirred it together and then it was ready to go. You can season this with a little extra salt and pepper. I know some people like to add like some red pepper flake to this as well. You can season it according to your preferences, but this was really easy. It only took about 10 minutes on the stove after the chicken was shredded and the pasta was cooked, and this turned out amazing. It was so good and everybody really, really liked it. You'll hear that again here in just a minute. My tomato-based sauce with the sausage simmered for a couple of hours, and I went ahead and gave it a stir, and I did go ahead and pull out the little Parmesan rind. You can, I think, like puree that if you want to and put it back in, but I just set it aside. And I did go ahead and mix the cooked pasta right there in the pot, just like I did with the chicken pasta. And the reason why I wanted to serve it this way is, I'm not gonna lie, we all know that person, pretty sure there's one in every family, who is a total sauce hog, you know, who will come through and just load their plate up with the sauce. So I just thought it would be better for serving everybody to go ahead and mix it all together and then let everybody plate up their pasta completely made up. So this is what it looked like when it was finished, and man, did it smell fantastic. This is what I ended up eating, and it was so good, and we had just about one little helping of it left for the next day. I chose to use sausage instead of ground beef because it's a little bit less expensive for this sauce, this tomato-based sauce. And I did go ahead and put it into the sauce because I wanted it to flavor the sauce, and because I knew that everybody here would probably want meat in their sauce. I had initially intended to keep the protein separate, to have like the shredded chicken, to have the sausage crumbled, you know, cooked and crumbled, and maybe even a little bit of bacon, like bacon crumbles, and then have the different sauces and just let people kind of make their plates accordingly. But I've decided just to put it all in one pot to serve. But that's another option if you wanted to keep it all separate and let people make their plates, or if you wanted to make it meatless. I mean, these sauces would definitely stand on their own if you wanted to leave the meat out. This easy garlic toast trick is something I have shared numerous times on my channel. It's a great way to use up leftover hot dog and hamburger buns as well. I just lay them out on a cookie sheet as you see here, and then I actually melt the butter in a little mug in the microwave, and you can use a lot or you can use a little. That's totally up to your taste and preferences there. But I use a basting brush then to baste it over the top of the bread so that I can get it coated evenly. And normally I would season this with a little garlic salt and a little sprinkling of Parmesan cheese. But tonight, since I had about half of that packet of ranch seasoning left from making the veggie dip, I decided just to sprinkle it over the top of the bread. And then to toast these, I put them under the broiler for about 1 to 2 minutes. You want to be careful whenever you are toasting bread under the broiler because it can burn really, really quickly. I've done that numerous times, but these turned out really great. It made 32 pieces of garlic toast that everybody enjoyed. We didn't have any left over. I don't usually whenever I make garlic toast this way. Everybody just gobbled it right up, including this little cutie, my nephew right here. All right, you guys, here is a little footage of both of these pastas plated up. I had the tomato sausage pasta that you see right here, and it was fantastic and very flavorful, but everybody raved about this chicken pasta with the white sauce. In fact, we had one tiny itty bitty little bowl of it left over that, I'm not gonna lie, I actually ate for breakfast the next morning, and it was very, very good. Everybody enjoyed it, and it really wasn't hard to put together, and I enjoyed the company in the kitchen and all of the chatter while I was cooking. So I hope this gives you some ideas, and thank you so much for watching, and I'll be sure to check in with another video very soon. Bye.